Right, so there's shenanigans going on up in the northwest. In another case similar to that which I covered in Croydon in the last week, where two white right-wing Starmer loyalists got their pick of seats due to Tory boundary changes coming in before the next election, whereas the black lefty MP in their area got told where she's going and to lump it, quite frankly. That was very much the messaging she seemed to take from that. Potentially, we're going to see another example here in the northwest of that happening here too. Right-wingers being parachuted in and left-wing Labour MPs shunted out, found to be not up to standard. This is the usual Starmerite excuse, their reasoning. But there's a fair bit of mystery here too. We're not 100% sure what exactly is going on. We've got an idea of what is going on. We have our suspicions aroused that this is going to be another Starmer power grab in the offing, and well, it's handy to make a little video about what we know so far, so we can compare it to maybe what happens later on and see if Starmer is going to behave as he typically does. Let's start with things up in the northwest. We're in Birkenhead, formerly the preserve of right-wing Blairite Frank Field, who, after consistently siding with the Tories over Brexit, lost a confidence vote from his own membership, resigned the Labour whip, joined in with the media narrative that under Corbyn, Labour was a racist party, sat as an independent, refusing to trigger a by-election, ended up starting his own party, the Birkenhead Social Justice Party, and was determined his name would carry him to victory come the 2019 general election, because surely Birkenhead loves this man. And instead he lost his shirt, because they don't, to a left-wing Labour candidate and a local boy in Mick Whitley. As with many failed politicians, he now occupies the House of Lords. Naturally, it's where they all end up, isn't it? Now, Whitley is exactly what you ought to expect a Labour MP to be. Working class. He's ex-merchant navy. He worked for Vauxhall, the car manufacturer, prior to being elected to Parliament. He was also a trade union organiser with the trade union Unite. Ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? He should do for typical socialists of the left-wing Labour persuasion. Well, that is until Starmer came in, of course. Whitley isn't Starmer's sort at all. He's not a red Tory. Now, Birkenhead is on the Wirral Peninsula, one of 4 parliamentary constituencies on that peninsula, with Wallasey, the seat of right-winger Angela Eagle, Wirral South, the seat of right-winger Alison McGovern, and Wirral West, the seat of Margaret Greenwood. Now, Labour lost seats here on the Wirral in the recent local elections, to the Greens notably. Various shenanigans have ensured Labour stay in charge, though, having done deals with the Tories there, all very much more Starmer's kind of thing. But at the parliamentary level, boundary changes are striking here, and one casualty of this is going to be Alison McGovern, the MP for Wirral South, whose constituency is being abolished. The Wirral will be reduced to just 3 parliamentary seats instead. McGovern has decided she wants to challenge Mick Whitley for the Birkenhead seat. She's been a bit sneaky about it, though. She's told her constituents that I'm going to ask Labour members to support me standing in a new Wirral constituency, which includes Bevington, but I'll be the last person to have the title of MP for Wirral South. Well, it's not really a new constituency. Bevington is being amalgamated into Birkenhead under the new boundary changes. It's where McGovern lives, apparently, so fair enough if that's where she lives. You can kind of understand her wanting to go for this seat. But her being a right-winger, head of the Blairite faction Progress, no less, now laughably renamed Progressive Britain, when they're anything but it's the Red Tory bunch with with her is who she's a part of, versus Mick Whitley being a Socialist Campaign Group MP. So you can kind of see who Starmer would favour on the face of it and would have no problem doing so whatsoever. But the plot has thickened slightly. Margaret Greenwood, the Wirral West MP, has announced she is standing down at the next election, so a candidate is needed to fill that vacancy. So on the face of it, you'd think this would be a no-brainer. McGovern is losing her seat. Why not fill Greenwood's now too? Well, the plot has thickened somewhat, and the Wirral West constituency Labour Party has now been suspended, and we really don't know why. Now, of course, continuing to want to stand in Birkenhead against a fellow Labour MP, though, being an actual lefty incumbent there, I doubt McGovern is losing sleep particularly over that. She would be resident in Birkenhead after these changes. That would be her excuse. So let's assume the challenge remains. Loser goes to Wirral West. We still don't know what's going on in Wirral West. Why have they been suspended? It seems reasonable on paper that the loser of this contest goes to Wirral West instead. But if the loser happens to be Mick Whitley, will Starmer let him? He's a lefty. Instead of a challenge, will Starmer just shunt Whitley to Wirral West instead, maybe? This is what happened to Bell Ribeiro Addy in South London, the black lefty I alluded to earlier, who was being made to go to the new Lambeth Central seat rather than remain covering Streatham, which he does now. But what if McGovern loses? Will Starmer allow that to even stand, given she's his sort? There's a very easy resolution to all of this. McGovern just going to Wirral West. You just know if you follow Labour internal politics, though, that seems the least likely consequence. What's more likely is that this challenge goes ahead, and if Mick Whitley loses, then Starmer's got another of his red Tory faction secured, despite the boundary changes, and he can just parachute in somebody to Wirral West. Maybe that's why they've been suspended. We don't know. We're going to see more of this, I'm sure, as boundary changes see careerist MPs pushing in on others to remain on the gravy train, wanting to stand where they are likely to be safe. And after you've liked, shared, and subscribed to keep this channel, to keep on top of this story and so many, many others, both red Tory and blue Tory alike, and lots more, that Croydon story, which I've mentioned a few times, is just here. You can get the detail of what's happened there just in that video there. So go and have a look with that. Stick with the channel. Be aware of Starmer's rigging of candidacies in favour of his own faction, even amongst sitting MPs now. And I will see you on the next video. Cheers, folks.